It's still the Good Morning Cross River, the Tuesday edition. I've been joined now by two great ladies who are here in town to ensure that the rights of women and those living with disability is actually protected. Beside me is Ndode Basio Bonga. She's the head of programs GPI, Girls Power Initiative. Good morning, madam. So good to have you on the show.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
And we also have Dr. Josephine Efa Chukuma. She is Executive Director of Project Alert on Violence Against Women. Good morning, madam. So good to have you.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Thank
you. Let me start with you. You're all wearing branded T-shirts. Project Alert started yesterday. Let's get to know everything about what we should know about the event that started yesterday and today in Calabar. Tell us about Project Alert and all of that.
Thank you very much. Project Alert is a non-governmental human rights organization set up in January 1999 to promote and protect the rights of women and young girls. Our office is based in Lagos, but we do programs all across the country. And so we are here with our partner organizations, GPI, Girls Power Initiative, and Basic Rights Council Initiative, to work on a project, a very important project, and this is a legislative advocacy one, basically working with legislators on two bills. There are two bills currently before the Cross River State House of Assembly, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Bill and the Disability Bill. So we are here to engage legislators, key legislators working on these two bills, to sensitize them to get their commitment. They're already committed, but increased commitment towards ensuring that these two bills are passed and passed quickly for the betterment, for improved situation of Cross Riverians, because the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Bill covers basically everyone, every Cross Riverian, man, woman, or child, but more with women and girls. And then persons with disability, especially women with disability. So that's why we are here. It started yesterday. We had about 10 legislators with us, including the speaker. And then it's continuing this morning.
Okay, fine. Not yet. Talk to us about a few highlights of the bill.
Basically, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Bill for Cross River State is not too different from what is obtained at the federal level. In 2015, the VAP Act was passed at the federal level, but we are adapting it to suit the peculiarities that we observe within the state. And a few of the highlights, as Dr. Josephine had said, was one is the expansion in the definition of what constitutes rape as against what is in the criminal code. In the criminal code, rape is only established when there's a penetration. But in the VAP bill, it expands to speak to the issue of any penetration in any part of the body, whether the mouth, whether the anus, whether vaginally, as long as any part of the orifice in the body. So males and females are covered as against what is the criminal code, where it only speaks to issue of vaginal penetration. So, and that's why she spoke about the fact that males and females are covered. Another highlight includes the inclusion of a sexual offense register. Before now, the only register that we have that includes sexual offenders or any kinds of offender is in the correctional center. But the VAP explicitly speaks to the issue of establishing sexual offense register, so that anybody who has been convicted on issue of sexual offense, your name, your profile, everything is there. What does that do? Now, if such a person applies to get a job and you're doing a background check, it becomes a very good document for you to, get to have information about who you're actually employing, to save anybody who is coming in contact with such a person. You've heard about the cases of drivers of schools these days who pick children to drop in schools, and at the end, those drivers tend to now, abuse some of the children who are the last to be dropped. We've had several of such cases. We've also had cases where you have teachers who are actually sexually violating young boys in schools and young girls in school. So this kind of register is very critical, and it will help if It's actually established and it cuts across the state. Another issue that the VAP speaks to is around compensation for victims of sexual and gender-based violence. There is the issue of fines, there is the issue of imprisonment without fines, but also including a compensation which will be decided by the court which is handling such a case for the victim. Another has to do with increasing some of the fines. We do have the criminal code and some fines or punishment method, but this one actually increases the fines because some of those laws were established years, decades ago. So you have fines which are very minimal, and so for this one it increases some of the fines. So then for the disability bill, one huge highlight is the establishment of a commission for persons with disability to be able to push forward the implementation of the bill. So it doesn't become like an academic exercise like some other laws do. They are just kept in the shelf. So those are a few of the highlights of some of the bills.
Dr. Josephine, would you also love to give us a few highlights? Or?
Yeah, I think my colleague Ndodoye has really highlighted them. Like she said, the key thing in the VAP is the expansion of the definition of rape. You know, before we used to look at rape as, okay, it's just something that happens to women and girls alone. But now we are seeing a lot of boys being raped anally, you know, older men with younger boys, or even same young boys in secondary schools, you know, playing around like that. So it actually expands it to accommodate everyone, you know, so very important. And it's also with any issue, it's not just a penile penetration, you know, it's also about using any instrument. It could be a biro, could be a pen, could be, you know, people have all sorts of crazy sexual urges and use all sorts of things. This bill talks about that.
Excellent. Let me still stick with you, Dr. Josephine. Let's look at the benefit of this bill. What would this bill turn out for Nigerians, especially cross-Riverians now?
The major benefits of this bill would be optimal protection of everyone, man, woman, and child. Because it talks about violence against persons, and not just within the private sphere, also in the public sphere. You know, you send someone to go and kill someone or do something, you are equally as guilty. You know, so it's not just the private. It doesn't just talk about domestic violence. It doesn't just talk about sexual violence. It talks about even violence in the public sphere, violence in politics. It talks about that. You know, you see that a lot of women in this country of ours and in this climate, you see women shying away from politics because of violence. Because of violence. Not just violence in the home, where family members, some family members are even telling you, oh, what makes you think you can go into politics? Who are you? Or even in the public then. I mean, we were living witness to the woman who was burnt and killed in, was it in Kogi or Kwara State or so?
Kogi State.
Yeah, and what was our offense?
Yeah.
What was our offense? Participating in politics. And by so doing, you are scaring others that, look at what happened to that one. You know, so this bill, when enacted, because I'm not going to say if, because the legislators were so supportive yesterday, they were so outspoken on it. Honestly, I was so impressed. So it's not a matter of if it is passed, it's a matter of when. And it will be. It's to the benefit of all Nigerians, especially those states that have passed, and therefore, particularly Cross River State, it would be of huge benefit to Cross Riverians. That's on the VAP. On the disability bill, honestly, Cross River State has been left behind on that disability bill. A lot of states have already, because disability is not, people with disabilities, they are not, it's not a favor we are doing them, please. It's a right. It's a basic human right. And I tell people, disability can come to anyone at any time through any means. We are seated here. God help us. If something should fall on us now. I'm just saying. You can just step out now and you say, oh, I'm driving to Ikoransa. You have an accident. You are getting older. Arthritis. I'm wearing glasses. If I remove these glasses now, I'm not sure I can read what is on Ndodoye's sheet. So I have some, you know, disability is not all seen. It's maybe the physical one you can see. If a young man or a young woman walks in here with hearing impairment, how would you know? Except maybe when you say something and say it over and over again and he or she is not responding, then you say, oh, seems something is wrong. So we shouldn't see disability as them, not us. It can be anyone. So it's important. It covers each and every one of us.
Nodi, let me come to you now. Let's look at the punishment, because you in your comments the other time you raised the issue of punishment. Let's look at it. How fierce would this bill push out for punishment? Because you did say some of these positions were quite old. Some fines could be even 100 naira, 200 naira. Let's look at the punishment now.
Okay. For the VAP, if you look at the female circumcision and child marriage law that Cross River State had as far back as 2000, some of the fines range from 5,000 to 10,000, so anybody can afford and walk away with it. But now we have increased such fines to, like, some are 200,000, 500,000, some with no option of fines, especially when it's the second, you're doing it for the second time. As she did say, so some of the fines are actually very heavy. Some, there are no option of fine, so you must be imprisoned. Especially for sexual offenses, it ranges from 14 years, then for minors to life imprisonment. So that's how tough it is. I just wanted to add that some of the benefits that Dr. Josephine spoke about, especially for the disability bill, has to do with, if you look at our public infrastructure, most of them are not disability friendly. You go to the banks, there are no ramps. The cars are so high, they can hardly get in. You go to the courtrooms, there are staircases and no provisions for ramps. You go to the churches, you know, we're very churches people, but nobody's thinking of the fact that a person who has hearing impairment needs signed language. Yet the Bible says faith comes by hearing, and hearing the word of God. So if the person with disability, hearing impairment comes, he's only looking at the lips and not hearing. So how would the person's faith even grow as churches as we are? So we need to begin to think of the public buildings. How would we're not saying break down the buildings as Dr. Josephine was saying, but how do we begin to make some cracks here and there that could enable persons with disability have access to those buildings? We need to think around it and be as creative as possible. And then we also need to, they are saying that now what we are doing now is actually supposed to have a sign language person here. So that bill is actually speaking to that issue. So that persons who are having hearing impairment can actually see the signs and then have it. So that's one of the things the bill is talking about. Then another key issue that the disability bill is talking about is about parking spaces. You come to a public facility that can have a parking space for up to 10 people. We are saying that keep one space very close to the entrance. Like, for example, I'm going to use the Spa, which is a very popular place. The entrance, if you go to Spa, they're supposed to keep a parking space and put a clear sign saying that people with disability have this parking space, so that nobody takes it, so they can have easy access. So that is the content of the bill. And as she did say, it speaks to every human being, because every family, as we know, may have disability. We had a case of a man who shared yesterday. He, up till the point he graduated,
He was okay.
He was okay, but they just threw a bottle at him, and that's what caused his blind. Today he's blind. So it's not something he was born with. So we need to think, ahead and think of the fact that it's not happening to me today, but it may happen to my family member, and we think ahead.
So the punishment, you say that everything has been...
It's reviewed. It's reviewed.
Excellent.
Some
you can't say any 100 naira.
No, there's not even 10,000. There's not even 50,000. It has, the list is 100,000 upwards,
So
200, 400, 500, and the years are increased. Some without option of fines.
That will really serve as deterrent to potential criminals. Let's talk, Dr. Josephine. Let's look at the compensation now. What is Project Alert pushing for in the legislative advocacy for compensation?
In the VAP, the traditional thinking, when a girl has been raped or a man has battered a woman and whatever is, okay, he has been arrested, that is it. What more do you want? No, it's not either or. You should pay for the criminal offense by way of fine or imprisonment, and you should also pay compensation to the victim. I mean, I sat here, or I'm sitting here, I didn't ask you to come and rape me. You came and you raped me. I have to go to the hospital. I have to pay medical bills. I have to start going to the police station. Why should I use my own resources to do that? Why? I didn't ask for you to abuse me. Do you understand? So therein lies compensation. So it's not either or. That does not stop you from still facing a court of competent jurisdiction for you to answer to your crimes. Do you understand? So it's not either or, as people used to think before. They've arrested him, what more do you want? It's not about what more do I want. It's why did he or she, because some women also commit offenses, do you understand? Why did he or she do that? So you face the criminal charges and you pay compensation to your victim. That is yet another beauty of this VAP bill.
Excellent. So in just 10 minutes each, at the end of this campaign, what do you want to see differently?
What we want to see, which we have started seeing, honestly, I give kudos to the House members who came yesterday, is increased commitment by the legislators in the Cross River State House of Assembly to, as a matter of urgency, pass these two bills, which will be to the benefit of Cross Riverians. And it will be, history will vindicate each and every one of them who had a role in this. We can't keep doing things the wrong way. The wrong thing has become so normalized that when you are doing the right thing, people actually look at you and you look like someone from space, because we are so used to doing the wrong. Let's do the right thing and the right thing starts on this issue. It starts with the passing of those two bills.
Excellent. Lord, let's get your word. What do you hope to see at the end of the day?
I hope to see a buy-in by every member of the society, ministries, departments, and agencies. I hope to see our dear governor assenting to it and ensuring that it becomes a law, so that every woman, male, female, would have his or her rights protected. I hope to see a political will and a commitment to its implementation, so that we all will be safe and sound. I hope to see sexual offenders being publicized in the whole of Cross River State, because we'll use their faces as billboards, so that it serves as a deterrent.
Thank you so very much, Ndodeye Bassey Obonga, Head of Programs, Girls Power Initiative, GPI. Thank you for your time on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Dr. Josephine Efa Chukuma, Executive Director, Project Alert on Violence Against Women. Many thanks for your time on the show. We will be joining you this morning as well at the Transport
You're welcome.
Hotel.
You're welcome.
So you've heard it there. For those of you that love doing evil, the law will catch up with you pretty soon. Cross River State should be known for. We love our girls, we love our boys, we try our best to ensure that they stay safe for us. The bill will be passed, definitely it will be passed, and the law will catch up with those who are perpetrating evil. It's still a good morning, Cross River Tuesday edition. Stay with us, we're not done yet.